And welcome back to the channel. Obviously we have monster trucks in the background, so you know where we're at. We are here with Charles and the C34 Laurel. It is time to go over some of the updates and parts. As you guys can see, we're moving some fiberglass. A lot of fuel and stuff going on today, as well as new manifold and some other things, right? So here's the new manifold. I'll have him go over everything with you, but that's about it. We are going to get to the 5 lug. I don't know when I'm dropping this, maybe probably before, honestly. This will probably be before fitting the wheels. So he is 5 lug swapping. Stay tuned for that vlog. We have the big boy wheels, which he got off me, the rivers that were on the LS, and a lot of camber parts, but everything is done. Coilovers are slotted, adjustable arms in the rear, the whole 9 yards. Everything is done other than the actual 5 lug hubs, which have been pushed off for shipping. So once we get that together, we've already filmed 90% of it. Actually, Charles did while I was out of town, so big shout out to Charles for getting you guys some content, but that will be done soon. So today we're doing fuel, manifold, turbo stuff, fuel pressure regulator, maybe a little kit stuff, and we'll go from there. But right here, front kit. You want to explain why it's in pieces?
Yeah, because in Russia, I guess they have like shipping size limitations, and bumpers are too big for whatever reason. Because I think he ships air, so I imagine with air they can't fit that big box on planes. So
he cuts them.
He had to cut them, but
which is not going to be that hard to get the fiberglass, and then once they're over and painted, you cannot even tell. So
it's not that big of a deal.
That'll be pretty sick. In the other vlog, did you mock it up, or just you mocked it?
I didn't have it yet, I don't think.
Oh, true. True. And here is the rear bumper. In one of the last vlogs, Michael, we shouted out his Instagram. Yes. Again, big shout out to Michael for this kit and stuff. He's actually running this identical kit, so go check out and you can see.
C57 Fiberglass is his company on Instagram.
C57 Fiberglass?
Yes, I think it's just straight C57 Fiberglass.
Sweet, hooked it up from Russia, so can't wait to get this on. I think the best plan of attack is going to be taking off the downpipe, and then we're going to try and take off the turbo before we start taking off the manifold. I think we have to take off the turbo to get to like half these bolts anyways. So we're definitely going to have to get underneath, because the downpipe bolts as well as the coolant line on the back of the turbo is really hard to get to. So we'll give you guys a comparison of this manifold and this manifold, but this is a CX Racing equal length, right?
Thick wall.
Equal length, thick wall.
Top mount for 240SX with a RB25 swap, which sets it closer to the valve covers, basically.
Correct. You went with 240 because you...
I don't know the comparison between like strut towers and where the engine sits compared to any other Skyline.
So go with the smaller one. And your turbo's like not a humongous, so like you don't have to push it away. So that will be super sick getting on. This literally looks like two combined and welded together, so that's pretty sick. But we're gonna try and get this off. I mean, we know where all the bolts are. It seems kind of simple, but you know,
everything's been sprayed.
Yeah, it's everything's been sprayed and sitting with PB Blaster. So we will get to this, and we'll catch up with you guys in a couple and start going over some of the other parts. Is it catching on something?
Yeah, just a line.
There you go, big dog. We'll explain to the people what we did real quick. We ended up taking off this bolt, which was on the bottom, and that bolt, both coolant lines. One is on the very far back, on the back side, and one is on the front, as you can see here and here. This one was kind of a pain, but we got a big, what was it, 15/16 on there, I believe.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, super sick. Now it's RB25DET. We're doing a DET to DE conversion.
Yeah, it's just more reliable, you know?
Damn. Yo, that looks a lot smaller than your other turbo. I mean, it's... Your other turbo's it's still small, but it's like what do you call it? Efficient. Like it's meant for more power, but like smaller so you can like build faster.
Yeah. It'll have quick spool time, so it'll be like good mid-range, you know?
Hey, if anybody watching this wants a RB25DET turbo
and manifold,
0 shaft play at all, free spins, that Johnny is nice, and manifold. So any of you RB20 guys, hit them up. RB20, RB20DET, RB25DE, all bolts on because they are the same.
Yeah. Throw me some offers. I don't really know.
There you go.
I guess you already went over the lines, right? Now you can go over maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
Go over this little...
Well, stock intake is off. Charles decided to break off.
Hey, I did not break it.
Stud.
And it's not coming out. There's nothing sticking out of the hole.
Alright, well, the stock manifold is off. The gasket is destroyed. And only managed to... Well, I'm throwing things, but... snap one stud. Strongman over here.
I think it was snapped already because I barely put any pressure on it and it just fell off.
Well, and it's in the very back, very worst spot. As you guys can see right there, can't even put a drill or anything. I don't even know if we could like weld something to it because I'd be afraid of like welding to the block. But now it's all off. So what are the plans now? Oh, so I guess you've got the coolant line, which was right here on the front, the coolant line that was on the back, and then this is the return. Or
no, this is the feed.
This is the feed?
Yep. And then this is the oil return.
That's right.
So we gotta get this remade because top mount's gonna be way up here, and then we gotta get this remade. I don't know, I might be able to just use some hose and extend it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's pretty like...
Yeah, it's a non-pressure. It's just a return. This
cool.
is the pressured line.
Well, do you want to? Are we gonna mount up the other one?
Mock it up, yeah. I think we should pull at least this line if we can, just to get it out of the way.
That should be easy to get off right there, and then we can put the maybe we could put the new turbo. I mean, we got everything inside the car.
At least to mock it up and get an idea, because we can do some measuring to figure out and go get those lines made, and then probably just pull this out, figure out what size tube that is, and go buy some.
Word.
That'll be easy. And I make sure that make sure this bolts up to the new turbo, and I highly doubt this will, but I can see.
Cool. All right, well, we'll work some YouTube magic. And here we are. So this is only being held on by, I think, like 2 nuts right here on the manifold. It was a little bit of a pain because of what? This is power steering, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, power steering line was hidden on the bottom. And what else? And then this slid on pretty easy. What we did was we did clock the turbo. So we just loosened these bolts on the back and was able to clock it because this was facing down and that way. And obviously, you can't do that. So we mentioned it before. Whole plan for this is going to be tube anyways. So this is probably going to be about the best orientation. The tube will be able to, or the intercooler piping will be able to probably 90 at like a 45 right here and go to an intercooler however it is set up. But that is super sick. We also have valve covers that were powder coated, which we've been told are done. So we're just waiting to be told to come and pick them up. Yes. That's super sick. You want to show them the like the spark plug? Nah, we'll show them that. We'll show them the spark plug cover. I don't even know what you would call this.
I have no idea.
But oh yeah, it picks it up pretty good. It's super good on camera, and in person, this goes crazy. Just wait until you guys see the actual valve cover gaskets. They came out super sick. But all of this fits under the hood, luckily, or will fit under the hood. So we're super excited about that. The purple is going to look super good with the clear cover, matching with all of the purple hoses, which if you watched the last vlog on the update of the Laurel, we went over all of that. The head is covered, so don't worry. It's been covered every time that it's been raining, and we try to keep everything out of it, so that won't be an issue. And yeah, so also big shout out to Charles' dad. Instead of using the little like Phillips that used to be on these pigtails for the injectors, right? Yeah. So it used to be on, they were stripped out super easy and they were like hard to get to.
Yeah, they're just, all the Nissans have them. It's just a common thing.
Well, do this to yours. Put these little Allen key Allen head bolts in, and it makes it super easy to mess with them and get them in and out. So we're pretty hyped on the progress. Glad we could get that off. The downpipe definitely will need to be raised up more, and then also a new flange on the back. Sorry, it was a bit zoomed in, but it's finally starting to come together. So I know Charles is excited. There's still a lot of work to do. Gonna end up pulling all this apart anyways, and throwing the fuel pressure regulator, the fuel pump in. We'll probably do that all in this video as well. The valve cover gaskets on, and go from there. So I think this is going to be it, at least for tonight. Wrapping it up, we made a decent amount of progress. Again, here is how it looks, how it's going to look. Super baller, and hopefully making in the 4s.
Hopefully.
So, 4 something.
4 or lower.
4, yeah.
Don't push it too much.
Touche. Well, we'll give you guys a quick look at some of these monster trucks, because I know everybody comments in the background and sees them. These are the mud trucks. This is 12 valve, and this is
454.
454. So 454. You got a V8. Well, now you got 2 inline 6s. Inline 6 for the win, right? Jay-Z.
Oh, it's Jay-Z.
Yeah, RB25 will do some good work. So
I'd say that.
keep yourself quiet. Keep yourself quiet. But nah, we'll wrap it up tonight, and I will catch up with you guys in just a minute, probably a couple days our time, once it's bright out, and we can start going over all the fuel stuff and putting things back together.
What's up, guys? So Logan has a bunch of stuff to do today, and I was picking these up, the upper intake plenum and the valve covers that we talked about getting powder coated. They're more or less just a black base with like a purple flake over them. You can see more or less, you can't see that it's kind of flaky, but you can definitely see the purple. So I'm taking these, probably gonna try to install both of them today. I have to get all the tape off still and clean them out, make sure there's no sand or anything in them from when they got sandblasted, because obviously you don't want any sand going in your engine. So I'm gonna go ahead, unwrap these two, and take all the tape off, clean them out, and then I will catch you when we start the assembly. Alright, so I got the valve covers and the intake cleaned up, and as you can see, both sides are on, and I started to put this on, but I forgot that I gotta put all the coil packs in and the cover for them first before I put this on, because otherwise this blocks it. But these are on with new seals. I bought some OEM Nissan gaskets from, I believe, I forget if it was Injuku or Z1, but one of them. That's kind of where I've been getting all of my parts. Bought some new hardware. You can kind of see they're just Allen heads, nothing special, but it actually looks somewhat like an engine now. And kept the manifold on, took the turbo off just to make it a little bit easier to get into these bolts down here. But everything's slowly coming together. I'm probably gonna get to this tomorrow or another day because it is getting dark here. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the coil packs, and I gotta clean out some of the spark plug areas because I got water in them since the car's been sitting outside. But I'll get everything kind of settled up for tonight, and then you'll see when it's done. So got everything on, I took out my spark plugs, went ahead and checked the gaps on them, got them to 0.8 millimeters, but took those out, cleaned them, put my coil packs back in, made sure those were good. Everything put on this little PCV hose because I'm going to be running a air oil separator catch can. Probably going to be mounting it somewhere over here, but I can't do that yet, so just put the one hose on there, and then I'll run this end to the catch can, and then probably just vent to atmosphere. But it actually kind of looks like a engine again. Got all the purples going, sparkles, turbo kind of mounted there. But yeah, that's probably it for tonight. Come back out tomorrow or something and get the intake manifold on, get everything bolted up to that, and then start finalizing, I guess, any hoses like this one, or be able to connect vacuum lines, finalize all the little things that need to be done. and I made a little bit of progress. I kind of did it without filming because I was in a bit of a rush to get it done, but I can explain it just as well with it on as I can with it off, because it's really not too complicated. But I installed the upper intake plenum. You can see that separation right there between the two. Obviously the purple is the upper, and then that's the lower. The whole thing itself is just the intake. But the upper is, in my opinion, quite a pain to install. On the outside you have 2 studs with nuts on them, and then 2 regular bolts. And then under here, I honestly don't think you'll be able to see it. You can see there's one right there that you can see. And that one is basically all the way across the bottom. And there's 5 of them. You can see another one there. Kind of see them, kind of not really, but there's 5 of those under there, and you have to. I take the throttle body off, obviously, to get down there, because you have to stick your hand in between everything that's down there, above the injector rail, and run any little wires, and try to reach the bolts that are back there. So very difficult. It's probably easier to just take off all of the intake and do it, but I didn't want to take out injectors and fuel rail and all that, so didn't want to mess with it, and I just left it as is. It's somewhat back together. Intake's on, throttle body's on, idle air control valve is on, and still got to connect some little hoses here and there, but all in all, it is looking like an engine again. Also, I want to go over the fuel pressure regulator that I had installed, or that I installed. It's just the simple Tomei Type L. Nothing super crazy, but Tomei Type L, and it's all in all pretty simple. I have the gauge that comes with Tomei gauge, Tomei thing screws directly in. You don't have to buy anything, just screws right in. So that's super easy. And then I bought the ISR adapter for where the original fuel pressure regulator would go. You put the ISR adapter in, and it just puts a barbed hose in, so you can run that to the out, or I forget which one is the in or out, either the in or the out of the fuel pressure regulator. There's only 2 hose connections. This one right here that you can see, which is either the in or out. I honestly couldn't tell you, I don't remember. And then this one on the other side, one on the bottom. You kind of see a little 90 right there, and then the one on the side. And then of course you got to hook up the vacuum line, which goes right there to the little port on the intake plenum. So I'll be able to finalize that stuff probably tomorrow or something, sometime then, I don't know. Hopefully soon we'll be cutting all of this out and starting on the tube front. Kind of threw on the fender just because why not, just to see it with the fender again, because it's been a while. But yeah, RB's looking mighty fine and mighty purple. We're back with the Laurel. So doing a little update. I know the last clip I got the intake manifold on. Didn't get to do too much explaining on it, just a general, told you how many bolts there were, what connects to it and all that. I gotta buy some new screws for this because I lost them, of course. First ones I've lost so far, but easy to find, won't be too hard. And then got all that plugged into the idle air control valve is plugged in. I bought a new gasket for that, but got the brake booster line hooked up, and gotta figure out, I don't exactly remember what everything does, but I took some pictures on my phone, so I'll be able to look back and see where everything went. Got this bracket mounted on for the throttle cable. I think I might have to adjust a little bit because this has a lot more slack than I think it should. Yeah, there's really not too much else I can do with the engine bay right now. Everything's kind of mocked up. In order to actually get the manifold on, I need to get the one stud that broke off back here and get that pulled out so I can get a new one in there, and then I'll be able to finally put this on, because it's really only that one small stud that broke that's holding me back. So once that's done, I'll be able to put the gasket in and get it all bolted up and tight, And then for the turbo, the studs that the manifold actually came with seemed a little bit like they move within the holes themselves, so probably gonna try and find something that fits a little bit better, just so I don't have to worry about, you know, my turbo moving with the creating a massive boost leak eventually. Even if I do just tighten these down and it does seem solid, still a good idea to make sure that they're completely solid no matter what. So finalizing things eventually, probably in another video. I'll get the oil feed and oil drain hooked up. Still have all the stock lines down there. I'm going to be rerouting the coolant line just kind of back into itself, because I'm not going to be using coolant to cool the turbo. So I'll be doing that. Probably going to paint this housing back here just a matte black to kind of match the other end of it. So that'll be nice, and, you know, get rid of all this rust that's been accumulating on it. I've been covering it every night with a bag and everything, but it's still plenty of moisture in the air. It is Florida. But hopefully get everything kind of as finalized up as I can in the engine bay for today. And then if I have time, I want to install the fuel pump, which I've kind of been holding off on because I haven't wanted to open my trunk, because I have this kind of like sticky tape type stuff to hold my back windshield still in the car. So hopefully if I open the trunk, it doesn't just cause my rear windshield to just fall in and then cause glass everywhere and bigger chance of water getting in the car. So kind of figured, you know what, why not record me opening the trunk in case something kind of sketchy happens with the back window. So let's do it. Don't have power, so I can't use my door one, so I gotta use the key. So here we go. Maybe you can hear it. Look at that. Wow. Okay. But now that this is open, I have to take out all of this stuff. My sub, jumper cables, unplug all of this fun wiring for all of my stereo, which actually, this right here is what caused all of this to break. Because I believe whenever I got into the wreck, the box bounced up and the motor for the rear wiper is right under here. So I believe this bounced up, hit the motor for that, and since it's just tempered glass, it just shattered the whole thing. But you know, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do to have some good music. Quick update, got everything pulled out, sub is out. The 1 amp is just kind of half disconnected because I didn't need to fully pull it out to get to that right there, which I haven't pulled off yet, but I am like 99.9% sure that this, under this cap right here, which is how most cars are, there is the fuel pump. As you can see, the wire running down into it, and the other wires right there are just my stereo wires. So there's that. Pretty cool. I love the old spare. I'll probably just keep this thing in here forever. Cool old Toyo spare. See a little Japanese lettering on it, Toyo. Tiny little thing, but still really cool. And of course, I'm 5 lug swapping, so there's only 4 here. Won't be any good. But kind of also experimented with figuring out where my bumper bolts are, because this bumper only goes to right here. So I looked inside here and I found these bolts. I believe it's only 3, but I'm pretty sure that these 3 bolts actually help hold on the rear bumper. So I'm gonna kind of have to experiment with that at one point. I'll document it for you guys in case any other C34 guys decide they want their rear bumper off, or I don't know, maybe they're getting a kit like I am. So I haven't checked the other side, probably exact same setup as this side, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this cap off and pull the fuel pump out and show you guys what it looks like. Fuel pump is out and the new one is half installed. It's just a generic Walbro 255, just a universal kit. So it comes with its own plug that you have to splice into the old plug. This setup is weird. I've never seen this with the cap that has the hose and 2 plugs on the inside, and then there's 2 plugs on the outside and the 3 hoses.
But I used a little piece of old rubber hose to kind of put a space on this because it was too far in for the hose to connect right. And just a hose clamp to hold it on so gas won't mess with this. And that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Everything's just the original bracket slides in. There's two little slots in there that you're not gonna be able to see because it's too dark and I could barely see it myself with a flashlight. That's it for fuel pump. Pretty simple. Tested it with the battery, just touched the two terminals in here and it worked. So everything's gonna go back in, get plugged back in, and honestly won't know if it really works until the car's running. Alright, so after the fuel pump was installed, I went and bought the caps for these vacuum lines here and got the PCV capped off. I went and bought vacuum hose, so the fuel pressure regulator is fully hooked up now. So it has vacuum straight to the intake manifold. Super short piece of hose. And I was trying to figure out what some of the ports on the throttle body do, and there's one on the very bottom that apparently is a coolant line that runs from, I believe, the turbo, and it's supposed to heat the air that goes in through the intake manifold. But in the process of finding that out, I saw that a lot of people do a bypass, so it makes for cooler air going in. So I went ahead and did that. You can see one of the ports right down there, and then there's one right on the other side in about the same spot. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see where I put the two hoses together. I just used a little double barb fitting and a short piece of hose, so that completely bypasses the throttle body now, and it's just straight to this little valve right here. It says do not open when hot, so whenever I get everything back and a radiator in, I can bleed the water system through this little screw right here. You just crack it and let all the air come out till it starts actually pushing water out rather than air, which is very important. So it actually has no air bubbles and it'll run cool like it's supposed to. But everything's capped off on here that needs to be capped. These two right here were for the blow-off valve or recirculating valve, whichever. And then this one right here, I honestly have no clue what it does. I took pictures before I took everything off, and this one was just left with nothing on it, so I put a plug on it just in case. This has to be plumbed into my intercooler piping whenever I get that done. But everything is pretty much finalized up here as far as vacuum lines and such on the intake side. Over here, I tried to get the stud that was broken out, but had no luck doing that. Used multiple things. My dad tried and helped me, but nothing got that out. So might just throw a short bolt in it just to get something in the hole, but hopefully that'll be good enough and I'll have no leaks with everything except for that one bolt. And I went ahead and pulled off the stock oil return and oil feed so I can go get lines made. For the oil return, it should just bolt right up to the new turbo that I have. I just have to get a longer hose so it reaches, since I'm doing top mount. And for the oil feed, probably just gonna get the steel braided hose made and just have it run under the manifold up by the strut tower, and probably use the AN fitting for the top or whatever I can find that'll work good. But that'll probably be in the next video of finalizing all those lines like that, and probably radiator or something. But everything's coming together. Everything actually looks like an engine now. Kind of cool. Got some colors. Looks less stock. But hopefully I got update on my hubs finally, so those will be coming in. That should be another video that'll be dropping hopefully soon. Probably film the end of it like next weekend or something, and that'll be a good video. Get the wheels fitted, or at least somewhat fitted. Not doing the rear, I'll explain why in the next video. But all in all, everything's working out pretty well, and I believe that is the end of this video. Got the top mount fitted, test fitted, turbo test fitted, kind of general idea of what I'm going to do as far as lines and all that. So everything's done. I'll catch you guys in the next video.